Good morning, everybody. It's the 15th of October 2021, and it's a bit of a big day in the UK when it comes to news about Tesla, because we can at last now configure and order a Tesla Model Y. It's been a long time in the waiting. They've been in the States for quite some time and in China, and just starting to come into Europe recently, and we have driven one. Check out our other videos for that. But now in the UK, we can configure and order one. So I was just going to go through a little bit here with what's available, what you can order, where they're coming from. And I'm going to mention at the end, I think, a little bit about, the market, the used car market at the moment, and residuals and what we can probably expect there as well, because it will have some effect on a few things. But firstly, what have we got? Have you ordered one already? They're going to be in big demand, so let me know in the comments below if you've ordered one and tell me what colour and spec you've gone for. What's your choice here? So let me run through what's available now as I look at the website here. You've got a long range and a performance, so no standard range here at the moment. We've got a long range which is priced at $54,990. And we've got a performance price at $64,990, so £10,000 premium for a performance model, which is quite a lot, isn't it? So I think the long range is going to be the popular one. And what have we got here? So 315 miles of range claimed, 135 miles per hour top speed, and 4.8 seconds to 60. It keeps the same. The default colour is white, but you have to pay a premium for black, £1,100. Same for midnight silver metallic, i.e. grey, and the same for deep blue metallic. And I expect the red, £2,100 for the multi-coat red. So let's stick to white there for the moment. 19-inch wheels are standard, Gemini wheels, but you can get 20-inch Uber turbine style wheels here. They call them induction wheels for $2,100. Now the performance has 21-inch version of these, but these 20-inch wheels there look rather nice. I do quite like those, I'll admit. Tow hitch. Now on the Model 3, in the UK at least, we saw that the tow hitch option was removed from the configurator on the Model 3. Here it says it's available for purchase after delivery. So I'm not sure quite how that works. So they've got the pre-wire and you literally just buy the tow bar and clip it up and in. If this is an option that's been around in the States, let me know how that works exactly there and how much we can expect to see that cost. It says it's capable of towing up to 1,600 kilograms, which is pretty good. Remember, when you're towing with an electric car, you usually can count on kind of halving the range of the car. Interior, black is standard, white is an option for £1,100. I do like the white interior, and we have found even on used cars now over the last few years here that we sell, the white does stand up to the test of time well. It can show marks and dirt, but they always clean up really well actually, so I wouldn't be too scared of white even as a family car. They do look great and they clean up really well. The main problem I have here is with the black interior, we have the wooden trim. And because these cars come from China, more of that in a second, it includes the wooden trim that goes into the door panels as well, much like the Model 3s that we receive here at the moment. I think in the States you still just get the main dashboard, is that right? Let me know, comments. However, what we do a lot of here now is offer a replacement version where we have an Alcantara wrapped wooden dashboard, so you don't see the wood anymore. Nice Alcantara finish to match the door cards. So I can see us doing quite a lot of those for the Model Y. And let's have a look here. It is only available at the moment with a 5-seat interior. So we've got that second row of seats, but no 7-seat option here at the moment. Enhanced autopilot, £3,400. So they'll come with a standard autopilot system like the Model 3 now, which is lane keeping and distance radar cruise. But you have to pay for enhanced autopilot if you want the self-parking, the summon and the lane changing features. £3,400, kind of hard to justify, I think, for that. Full self-driving capability, $6,800, and I think that's very hard to justify because we're not really near the full self-driving thing, but I'm not going to get myself in trouble with Tesla for saying don't buy it. You may well want to invest in it, but they're probably going to see some kind of subscription service for that as well. I'd like to see, I think in the UK where we have some quite narrow country lanes and villages and such like, the full self-driving is going to be a long way off for anything like that, but maybe on highway use it will be slightly better. Personally, I wouldn't be adding either of those options at the moment. Now those cars are stated here as early 2022 delivery, so January, February, maybe March, And that is because these are going to come from Shanghai. So there was an event just last weekend about Giga Berlin. So I think the plan is the European cars will be built from Giga Berlin and we'll then have shipments from there, which makes sense. It's obviously a lot closer. But I have been saying over recent weeks that I can fully see that they are already shipping cars from Shanghai to here with the Model 3, and they already have right-hand drive production in Shanghai. So why wouldn't they just put some on the boat to come over here? Well, now they are. That's exactly what they're doing. So what I imagine happening there is that there are going to be boats coming over in the new year with these right-hand drive Shanghai cars on. But these are going to be quite different to what Berlin will produce. I think Berlin will be starting to ramp up production into next year, and maybe by Q2, mid next year, we'll see sort of reasonable production volume out of Berlin, potentially of the Model Y, which will service Europe, left-hand drive, right-hand drive, one would assume. But I think in reality, we're quite a long way off of that. There's a big difference here. The whole thing with the Giga Berlin is they're talking about new batteries, 4680 cells, a completely different structure to the car, structural battery pack, put the seats on the pack, then they've got these single cast mouldings front and another single cast moulding for the rear, and put it all together in a very different way to the current Model Y being produced from Shanghai. So, you know, will some of you wait until the Berlin cars come on with new paint shop, new batteries and that kind of thing? Well, possibly some. Let me know in the comments if you're going to wait for the new stuff, which will be well into next year at least, or just want to get one now, which is a perfectly good car. And like I say, we have driven them, so I'm going to comment on that a little bit in a moment. But before we go into that, there is the option as well for this performance model, 64990. So for that, you get an increased top speed from 135 to 150 miles per hour. Well, possibly useful in Germany, but over here we have pretty rigorous speed limit of 70 miles per hour everywhere now at tops, and that's if there's no traffic. You get the bigger wheels, performance brakes, lowered suspension, aluminium alloy pedals, so £10,000 extra for the performance. So I find that kind of hard to justify. I don't know if this will come with the 82 kilowatt hour battery pack. It doesn't actually say on here. The current Model 3 has the 82 pack if you order the performance, but it doesn't specify in here. One could assume it probably will do, again, until we then go to Berlin production. Range is slightly less, 298 miles. That's because the Uber turbines here, the bigger the wheel, usually less aerodynamic and less efficient the car is. There are videos in the States of people testing the cars side by side, and it doesn't seem to make too much difference. But what I would say is the ride quality. I'm coming on to the bit about driving it. Let me just check if there's any other options on this first. Tow hitch, again, available for purchase. Maybe you can have a tow hitch with a performance, which you can't have on a Model 3 performance. You can't have on any Model 3 here at the moment, actually, but you never could have it on a Model 3 performance, although I know a handful did come into the country, but I digress. Same 5-seat only, black, optional white interior, and the same autopilot options there. So 10,000 extra for performance. It does bring its 0 to 60 down to 3.5, whereas the long range is quoted as 4.8. But there probably will be the acceleration boost upgrade for the long range to probably bring it down to about 4 seconds. So sits somewhere in between the two. So it is slower than the Model 3, albeit still a fast car, no matter which one you choose. It's this performance one, so I mean, I like to go for the performance one because, well, they're pretty good. But what scares me is I've driven the Model Y in the UK here. It was a German car, and that was a standard long range. And I didn't really notice a difference in the performance on that compared to our Model 3 long range that we drove it side by side. Check out our other videos because we did a test to see, you know, what it was like to drive compared to a Model 3, and also the efficiency differences between the Model Y and the Model 3. Is it less efficient? Well, that's in the other video. But one of the main things I think I can criticise the Model Y for is the ride was just hard. I mean, here in the UK, the roads should be good, but they're pretty hard. The ride was uncompromising, and that was on the 19-inch wheel. I find the Model 3 fairly firm, but that was on a 19-inch wheel, Model Y long range, and the ride was incredibly hard. I just wish they would soften it off for the Model Y because it's just fidgety and firm and not brilliantly comfortable. On the performance one, have it firm, absolutely, but on the long range, just make it more comfortable. So I'd love to see the option come in. I'd love to see an air suspension option perhaps, but When you go to performance one, you know, you've got the 20-inch wheels, now the 21-inch wheels here for the performance, and that firm ride, which presumably as it's lowered, I can never see the lower difference on the Model 3s, but allegedly lowered, that is going to be one firm car. So it'd be interesting to see what that's like to drive when they come over, but the performance isn't until it's quoting here mid-2022. So if you want a Model Y in the UK at the beginning of 2022, you've got to get your order in quickly now for a long range, basically. Performances will follow. Have I ordered one? Well, I have, yes. Yeah, I have ordered one. I don't know how long I'll keep it. Like I say, so I've had quite a good drive in the Model Y, and it's a fantastic car. It's no doubt that it's a brilliant all-rounder. More space, and the hatchback, especially in Europe here, we love a hatchback. It's more practical, and I'm sure they'll sell all the cars they can make. So I will get one, and we've been waiting for it for a while. How long I'll keep it for, I don't quite know. And then I'll be quite interested to try performance when it does come over. But at the £10,000 extra premium price, I find that hard to justify, and I'm worried just how hard that ride will be then, to be honest. So we will see, Maybe they've configured suspension differently, probably not, but it'd be nice to think that they would. Now, what's the knock-on effect on that with, you know, charger use? Well, Tesla in the UK have been increasing the number of charging sites pretty quickly, so I'm not too worried about any charging availability. We're seeing more and more Model 3s, but actually the scale in charging facilities with Tesla Superchargers has been growing really well, so that's good. Lots of new sites coming online, and pretty big sites of Tesla, so we don't really have an issue with queuing for chargers over here. And we also have a really good expansion now of the independent charging networks, so Shell, BP, Ionity, InstaVolt. There's more of them coming online every day now as well. So that's good. And obviously, I presume these just has the same CCS connection as Model 3. I don't see why that would be different. The German one did. So the used car market, I will mention briefly here. What would potentially the impact be? You know, if you've got an X or an S, you need to be worried here that, you know, you suddenly got a car that's not so desirable now. I don't think so. I think what happened, and I take this reference from when the Model 3 came out and we had the Model S. The Model S still sells incredibly well. In fact, the residuals of the Model S over the last 2 years has been incredibly good. Most of the models now that are 3, 4 years old, for example, 5, 6 years old even, the last couple of years, they've barely moved. So there's still a demand for the Model S, even though there's a Model 3 fairly readily available new, and available new for similar price to a used Model S. But the S is still really popular. Part of that is the hatchback practicality, but what the S and the X do have is more comfort, more features. They do feel like the sort of bigger, better cars in a lot of ways. Model 3 and Y, fantastic cars, but they do feel more kind of simple and basic. So no doubt it will be a preference for some people. And I think what will happen is there'll be this initial hype now about the Model Y, great, Model Y, brilliant. And then people will get the Model Y and think, actually, it's not quite as good as an X. You know, this X has got more space to it. The gull-wing doors are a bit more interesting and more practical in a lot of car parking spaces over here where you can actually open them in a narrow gap, which the Model Y does have some pretty big doors at the back there, so you need some space to get children and such like in the back. So I think, you know, I wouldn't worry too much. We've seen the residuals hold up really well on the S despite the 3, and I think the residuals on the X will still hold out pretty well despite the Model Y. I have to admit, on the especially longer journeys, I prefer being in an S to a 3, just more comfortable for me. I find the seats are still better than the 3. Actually, I know some people prefer the 3 seats, but I prefer the S, but just more refined and more comfortable. It's that suspension. In the UK, maybe it's just the UK and other places have better roads than us, but I find the suspension a little bit compromised on the Model 3 and just how firm and fidgety it is. But again, down to preferences. It will be a good car and it'll be incredibly popular. And if they can get the numbers over here to satisfy the demand, which will take a while, I think, to fulfill the demand, it will be ongoing and relentless for a long time. You know, what will the effect there be with things like Ioniq 5, ID4s and Audi Q4 e-trons and such like? Well, they're all selling out as well. The demand in the UK for these electric cars is proving to be really staggering. But it's a really strange market at the moment. We've got this chip shortage, so we've got queues for new cars, 6 months waits, year waits for new cars. So the whole used car market's busy, and the whole used car demand for EVs is incredibly busy. And we've actually seen most EVs on the used market going up in value over recent months. So it's a strange time. It's good as an owner. The residuals are fantastic. And I think that will stay with us for a while. How long this chip shortage and the delay in production of new cars in volume is going to carry on for waits to be seen, but you can't see it fixing itself anytime soon. So yeah, but this is a big day, you know, Model Y, it's another sort of, brick in the wall for Tesla. Really phenomenal force, and if they don't have so much chip shortages and get these numbers over here, that'd be great. But will you wait for this Berlin factory? Again, interested to see all your comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you were about to order an ID4 but now you're going to go for a Model Y. Let me know if you're thinking Model Y but you've ordered something else in the meantime, because actually I will admit I find the Hyundai Ioniq 5 more comfortable. I find the VW ID4 actually quieter on the road as well. They've got their plus points to them. So, you know, it's not the only car out there. Some other good stuff, but incredibly well done to Tesla. But it will be out of date again next year when we have the new production in quite a different format from Berlin. But that's it for me for now. Model Y is out in the UK. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me talk. I just made it all up on the spot, but I hope that's of some interest to share my thoughts to you. And I'd love to hear all your thoughts and comments below. And don't forget to follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, see what we get up to on a daily basis. Thanks for now.